story, your story.
Yeah.
20 years. It's been only 20 years since your mum bundled you in the back of that family truckster.
That's true.
On a Sunday afternoon, and drove you to that gig, that Sunday afternoon jam in that little club outside of Chicago.
Yep.
And you're even on stage on day one.
Yeah, that's something that my parents, they didn't grow up. I didn't grow up with any musicians or kind of music scene around. But my mom was so smart. When I started to play the guitar and I found the blues, she said, "There's a blues jam, and they do barbecue and blues." And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And I said, "I'm not going to bring my guitar." And she's like, "Well, you should. Maybe you could get up and jam." And I was so nervous. No way. And I'll never forget that moment where she went up to the bartender and said, "My son is an excellent guitar player. He didn't bring his guitar, but if you guys have a guitar here, he'd love to try it." And I remember I was just like, I was so nervous. I went into the bathroom before, and I remember there was a guy there. He was an old harmonica player, and he said, "You all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just a little kid. I'm washing my hands." And he goes, "Just remember, playing music, it's kind of like swimming. Either you're going to figure it out quick or you're going to drown." And I was like, okay. So I go on stage, I have the cable. I'm so nervous, I can't even get it in the guitar. And I start to play. And from that moment on, that was it. That's what I wanted to do.
So you get home, because your first guitar was an acoustic, so you get an electric guitar, and all of the musical influences, all of the musical styles and trends that are dragging you here, left, right, and everywhere else. Your first riff that you played was Electric Communion.
Oh, Electric Funeral.
Electric Funeral.
Yep. Close enough, though. Yes, it was, because I remember I only had a few CDs at the time, and I had this Black Sabbath CD, and I grew up, before the guitar, I really loved all the English stuff.
Yeah.
I was a kid listening to the Stones, The Who, Mott the Hoople, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Kinks. I mean, it was Cream.
But were you listening to this on your own? Because I'm looking at the era that you're born in.
Oh, yeah.
You're 34.
Yep.
So, we're talking about the 1990s and the noughties. I mean, what were your friends listening to? Because there's always a lot of peer pressure, isn't there?
Absolutely.
With music and kids.
My friends, they were not listening to this. They were listening to Kid Rock and Korn and all that stuff. But my dad, when we would drive around, classic rock.
Yeah.
So I heard Queen, and I heard I remember hearing another Brick in the Wall Part 2, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. And it's funny because before I even wanted to play the guitar, I was already in love with the music. And I remember I had this Black Sabbath CD, and I was going through the tracks on it, thinking to myself, which one sounds the easiest? And I found Electric Funeral, and I remember going, let me try this. In that moment that I taught myself how to play that riff, and I started to play along with it, it was like the greatest feeling on earth, because I was like, I did it. I actually did this. And it was almost like, making fire for the first time. I was like, I did it, It was cool.
I was listening to Black Country Communion on the way down here.
Awesome.
It's the Electric Communion.
Yeah, of course. Another insane band.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Love them.
One of the earliest reviews I read of you from a guy that had heard you maybe on stage at a jam, he said, and I can just imagine this wizened old hack sat there going, "This kid, he plays the blues like a 65-year-old from Mississippi.
Oh, man.
This is incredible." So, when you see things like that, because you were, this was 10, 12 years ago, so you're in your 20s. You're walking around not that it's really possible to get another couple of inches taller than you, but it fills you with a bit more adrenaline.
Oh, yeah. When people started to take notice like that, I didn't really get into more, of course I love the classic rock, but when I found the blues, I was probably 16 years old, and I was it was like I uncovered this gem, and I was so excited about it. And until I was probably 22 years old, I didn't even really flirt with the rock stuff again. I was pure blues. And when people started to say stuff like that, it was I felt like it was important what I was doing to keep going on it. And to really spread the awareness, because there's a lot of great guitar players, there's a lot of incredible musicians, but the blues, we've said it a million times, and it's true, it's the foundation. It is the red thread that goes through all genres. And to me, the blues is the most respectful, eternal music there will ever be.
the left-handed thing.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Kurt Cobain was always moaning that he could never find a guitar that suited him, that fit him. You found quite early on, and then of course you're now known as Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah, for Gibson.
For Gibson, I mean, Joe Bonamassa knows you as, always calls you the Ambassador.
Mr. Ambassador, yeah.
Is Mr. Ambassador there. Did anybody try to coach the left-handedness out of you, or did you just settle on that and think, no, this is me, this is what I'm going to do?
That's what I settled on. And even being a kid, going back to being a kid and writing left-handed, I remember my teachers tried to make me switch, and it just made me more confused. So with the guitar, I just made a point. It was like, yes, I'm left-handed, like I'm just going to take the road less traveled. And I think that ultimately it was a cool thing, because yet again, and I also play with my fingers, so I never thought that those would be defining parts of my style, but it did turn out to be, which is kind of cool. And I think
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, exactly. 2 words.
You got to know it. You've done 500 shows, 500 appearances by the time you're 21.
Oh yeah.
You said that I learned about the hard work ethic very early on in my life, from humping bales of paper 11 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My first job was I worked at a farm, and the guy drove an old El Camino, a really old rotten El Camino, all rusty. We'd sit in the back and we'd drive about 10 miles to these farm fields. He'd get on the tractor, crack a beer, and he would have it so it'd be putting the hay bales with the ropes around them, and they'd fling back, and me and my friend had to be careful when they come back, and we'd have to grab them and we'd have to stack them, and we would stack hay bales for 11 hours a day, and he would pay us in change from his pocket at the end of the day. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, I think I should be getting more money. And my dad was like, nope, this is what you get, because he was like the old farmer. And then my second job, I milked cows. So I grew up in a completely different kind of vibe. So yeah, it was all old school. And when I found music, I did what I thought was normal. I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna play as many gigs as possible to as many people as possible, because not only was I was never thinking about like making money, I was thinking, because I want to get better. I want to and before I knew it, I was playing 4 to 5 nights a week for 3-4 years.
You've been written about in glowing terms, literally, from the moment that you stepped on stage for the very first time in your life. And if you look at some of the firsts, I mean, you toured with a lot of the rock elite.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the one moment that must stand out to you, and this is a bit like Richie Blackmore inviting somebody on stage to play Smoke on the Water, or Jimmy Page inviting somebody up to play rock and roll, Black Dog.
Yeah.
So you got Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah.
And you got Gary Rossington, and he's sitting there, and you've been playing support, and then one day he says to you, look, I want you on stage. And this has never ever been done before. He asks you to come on stage and jam during Sweet Home Alabama.
Yep.
Now, I mean, did you first of all think, fuck this, I'm out of here?
Well, here's the thing, like you said, I've been so lucky to get to play and meet and jam with so many of my heroes, but I remember we were playing in Germany, and it was like 14 or 15,000 person arena.
Yeah.
And we played, and I did my support, and he was watching the whole time. And then I'm walking off stage, he goes, hey, you're playing with us tonight. Sweet Home, it's an encore. It didn't even register in my head what he said. I was like, all right, cool, man. Then his tech walks up to me and goes, you need to be here in 73 minutes. Tune your guitar down a half step. You're playing Sweet Home, we'll have an amp and everything. And I'm sitting there going, what? So I'm in the back, and I'm in like this arena, and I'm in like a locker room, put Sweet Home Alabama on the phone, and I'm making sure I don't screw it up, because we've all heard it a million times, but then all of a sudden it's like, wait, I'm playing it with the band. So I go up there, and I remember I plugged into this big Marshall, and I plug in and I hit a chord, and it was just like, this is rock and roll. And I look around, I'm like, what? So then we're playing, and Gary walks over by me and goes, take the solo. I'm like, me take the solo to Sweet Home Alabama? So I go up there and I just give it. And I just remember that moment. It was like one of those things where like it was like a complete circle, because I remember being a kid like everybody and listening to those songs and hearing those records and being like, wow, this is incredible. And then to be in that moment, it was just like beyond my wildest dreams.
you've got a very simple mantra, haven't you, for your music creation, and it is be original.
Yeah.
Be original. Not easy in a genre which has been around as long as this has. So how do you maintain a degree of originality?
I think that always honoring the past and always quoting and being present and aware of all of the incredible music that's come before me and wearing my heroes on my sleeve, that's a big part of what it is. But also I think there's an attitude of no egos. You have to stay humble. You have to remember that, like you said, this has been such a long-standing tradition of music, and all that I can do is try and bring my own spin, my own breath of fresh air on what I already love. And I think the way that I try and do that is I just try and get out of my own head, and I think to myself, what am I trying to say as an artist? Where would I want to take this? And most of the time, when I stop thinking and I just get into it and I play, it's like that's the zone.
Your mantra, but the other one I suppose could be, and I don't know whether this might be of help to you, what about taking everything that you've learned so far and amplifying it?
That's so true too. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I'm gonna steal that.
The new album we talked about first, you're on a headline tour. The new album.
Yeah.
When you took it along to Eddie Spear, the what was in your mind wasn't what came out at the end. How much of an input did he have into the molding of this, into the project you've got?
Great question. Yeah, he basically served as kind of like, I feel like I brought him a bunch of ingredients and he basically made the cake. It was as if I told him I wanted to make a record that served as the live menu for my show, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want a record that feels explosive, powerful. It's very, very concise, but also, you know, a lot of times I'd be in the studio and I'd be working with a producer and they'd say, oh, keyboards would sound great on here. And it's like, yeah, they would, but I really wanted to make a record that felt like the live show.
Yeah.
So Eddie, he came in, he said, okay, there's a few things we can do. We need to set up and play it like we're in a performance. So like, you guys set up in a room, I'm gonna mic everything up, and it's not like he just threw a few mics, he was like scientific about it. And then he basically said, we're gonna have you sing over it, and I'm gonna manipulate it using, you know, we're gonna put a speaker in this reverb room, we're gonna have a space echo or a Leslie organ on your guitar part here. And basically he was able to help me take this vision of like a 3-piece power trio, just like the classics, and make it feel like a record.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
You've always said, actually, haven't you, that the difficulty has been creating an album and creating songs to go on it that mirror what you're all about as a live performer.
Absolutely. I used to have a really hard struggle between stage and studio because I would feel like I would have to put on a different hat. And what's funny is as I grew as an artist and a musician, I found quickly that it's actually more about amplifying what you see on stage and being more honest with yourself.
What does it mean for you to be able to write and perform your own music on stage?
Oh, it means everything. It means everything. It's a certain freedom that I've never experienced before. I feel like the luckiest guy on earth because I get to truly express myself and be creative, and people, whether they like it or not, they seem to take interest.
And lastly, where is or what is the blues in 2023? What does it mean?
I think it's as simple as it always has been. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's something that is translated, especially through music, that I don't have to say anything to you. I can tell you exactly how I'm feeling, whether I'm mad, happy, depressed, whatever. It's just getting that emotion across, and I think that's the best part. Genreless, the blues is everywhere. It's just taking what I feel and making you feel it.
And your favorite album, just it's because it was one of these unusual things when I saw it. Your favorite album, Patsy Cline's collection from 1961.
Yeah.
In between all of that blues, rock, hard rock, heavy metal, the lot, that still stood out. Does that still stand?
I listen to it almost every other day. Patsy Cline, Santo and Johnny.
Santo and Johnny.
Yeah, The Ventures.
Yeah.
I love
All Night Diner.
Oh yeah, come on.
Sleepwalk.
Yeah, Sleepwalk, Crying in the Chapel. All of it.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you,
time.
man.
Good luck, and we look forward to seeing you back here.
Cheers.
Very
Thank you.
soon. Thank you.